Am I the antagonist for not wanting to babysit my niece and nephew? I will start by saying that I don't get along well with my sister. She is a type B personality, while I am a type A. I am a stay-at-home mom, 34 years old, and homeschooling my own 2 kids, 5-year-old girl and 2-year-old girl. That's why my sister asked me to babysit her kids, a niece, 2-year-old girl, and a nephew, 4-year-old boy, since they are around the same age as mine. At first, I didn't think it would be a big deal as they are family, and I already had most of the necessary things for them: diapers, wipes, snacks. I thought it would be good for them to grow up together and for us to be one big happy family. However, after a few months, things started getting overwhelming. The kids are messy, loud, and often break boundaries and toys. I can't take them anywhere because they never follow instructions, and I don't feel comfortable having them around other kids since my niece is aggressive towards others and has speech delays. Additionally, I have fallen behind on lessons, and my house is a mess because I don't have as much time to clean as I used to. My sister is always late when dropping them off, doesn't always pack spare clothes for my nephew who is still potty training, and the kids cry if they don't have their comfort pillows. My sister also sometimes asks me to watch them an extra day, with just a day's notice, so she can make more money. Finally, I told her that I can only watch them for 8 more weeks and then I'm done. She got upset and claimed that I am making her life more miserable. She is a single mom trying to support her kids and believes it should be easy for me to look after her kids as well as mine. My dad also called me and said that if I can't do it for my sister, I should do it for the kids. He mentioned that I am more privileged because I have a supportive husband and a house, so I should tough it out until they start school in a few years. However, I feel like my own kids are being neglected while I help my sister, who never seems to have her life together and constantly relies on our parents' help. I also found out that her baby daddy watches the kids most weekends, so I wonder what she does with her free time to improve her situation. I am unsure if I should continue, for the sake of the kids, or if it is reasonable for me to give her 8 weeks to figure out an alternative solution. Am I the one in the wrong here? It's unfair for your dad to expect you to put your own life on hold and bear the burden of helping your sister until her kids start school. You already went above and beyond by providing assistance, and instead of appreciating it, she complains about what you haven't done. It's not your responsibility to provide for their basic needs when she can't even provide spare clothes or comfort toys. Your dad should step up and help instead of expecting you to do all the work. If he thinks it's important, then he should take care of his daughter. Your own marriage and family should not be held against you as a privilege, as you have put effort into creating a supportive and stable environment for your own kids. Am I the antagonist for asking for a loud toddler to be removed from my wedding? I am getting married soon. It will be a destination wedding with a small number of guests. My sister will be bringing her 1-year-old child. We are happy to have the child there as part of our family and the day. However, because the child is still very young and can be quite loud, I have asked someone to take her out during the ceremony if she becomes distracting and starts shouting or babbling loudly. I anticipate that this might happen as she tends to chat loudly and rarely stays quiet. The exclusion is only for about half an hour, and for the rest of the day, she can be as loud as she wants. My main goal is for everyone to be able to focus on the ceremony without distractions. My partner and I have planned some spiritual moments and we want everyone to enjoy them. Additionally, and I admit this might sound selfish, we want the guests' attention to be on us at that point. My sister thinks I am being mean for excluding my niece from the ceremony and, in a way, my brother-in-law who will need to take her out. She believes that they are making a long journey just for the evening meal and they will miss the ceremony. And most likely, the 1-year-old will miss the meal too, as it will be past her bedtime. I have explained to her that there are plenty of relaxed activities planned for the afternoon, such as photos, cake, a short walk outside, and a late lunch, which they will be part of. However, she is still very upset with me. Now, she is suggesting that I should have made it clear from the beginning that the wedding was child-free, so they could have made arrangements for someone to take care of the child. Personally, I would never ask a new mother to go away without her child for a weekend trip, especially since the wedding was planned a while ago, when the child was much younger and dependent. That would have been even more unreasonable in my opinion. My sister is now threatening to attend the wedding without her partner and child. We have called her bluff and told her that if that's what she wants to do, we understand. Honestly, she has been bothering us so much that we would be fine if all 3 of them decided not to come at this point. I am starting to question if I am the one being unreasonable here. I don't believe that my request is unfair. I simply want a peaceful and relaxed ceremony where everyone can fully focus on what is happening, without a toddler babbling in the background. Besides, even if my request were unreasonable, wouldn't it still be up to me since it is my wedding day? Isn't it the one day in my life when I can do anything I want? It's completely reasonable to ask your sister to keep her 1-year-old quiet during a spiritual and lovely ceremony. Your focus should be on the couple getting married, not a loud happy baby babbling away. You're not banning the child from anything, just asking for consideration. In similar situations, even Prince Louis at age 4 was whisked out of a coronation when he got antsy. Small children are not expected to sit still and quiet for long periods of time. Would I be the antagonist for refusing to move a temporary dumpster out of my parking spot as told by my HOA? I am in the process of renovating my condo. 2 months ago, I asked the Homeowners Association, HOPE, about the best way to dispose of the debris from demolition and construction. I inquired if it would be acceptable to use the existing dumpsters for household trash, or if I should rent a separate dumpster. The HOA advised me to send a separate request for a temporary dumpster when I was ready, and they would provide instructions on where to place it and how long to keep it. Fast forward to Monday when I reached out to them. They informed me that I could place the dumpster in my designated outdoor parking spot. I was given a 10-day period and asked to provide them with the rental company's proof of insurance. I understood their instructions. Accordingly, I rented a 15 cubic yard dumpster from a reputable rental company and instructed them to position it in my parking spot. They completed the task today, giving my contractors a suitable place to dispose of waste. However, within an hour, I received a call from the manager of the HOA's management company. They informed me that a neighbor had complained about the dumpster being placed too close to her car, hindering her access. I acknowledged the neighbor's concern, but reminded them that they had instructed me to place it there. They suggested that I talk to the neighbor, to which I agreed immediately. Yet they later informed me that she was too upset to engage in a conversation. Subsequently, they insisted that I had to move the dumpster. I asked them where it should be relocated. They proposed either next to the garbage shed, provided there was an empty parking spot, not guaranteed, or on the street. Placing it on the street would involve a lengthy walk from my condo, and I would need to obtain a permit from the town. I stated that I could arrange for the relocation, but voiced my concerns about the $200 fee that the rental company would charge. Since I had strictly followed their instructions, I asked if they would reimburse me for this cost. Their response was essentially negative, stating that it was my responsibility. Furthermore, they began to blame me for not foreseeing that the placement of the dumpster would obstruct my neighbor. They claimed that I should have rented a smaller dumpster. This sparked my frustration. In my reply, I emphasized that I had reached out to them 2 months ago and again 2 days ago, providing detailed instructions. At no point did they specify any limitations regarding the size of the dumpster. It was the HOA who explicitly instructed me to put it in my parking spot. Additionally, reducing the size of the dumpster would have made no difference, as the industry standard width of 8 feet remained constant, while only the length would vary. They then attempted to argue that the dumpster was touching the boundary line and insisted that it should be entirely within the parking spot. In response, I clarified that my contractor on site confirmed that it did not extend beyond the rectangular shape of my parking spot. I expressed my stance that their insistence on focusing on such minuscule details resembled the nitpicking of NFL replays, and stressed that I had not violated any rules. While I understand the neighbor's perspective, I do not believe it is fair for me to bear the $200 cost for complying with instructions. Would I be considered the antagonist if I informed the manager of the management company that I will not move the dumpster unless they agree to reimburse me for the expenses of relocating it? It's important to communicate with your neighbor and HOA through email or text and keep a record of everything. Make sure to check the covenants to understand the time frame for remedying a violation before fines are imposed. Once you receive a written notification from the HOA about the dumpster violating covenants, you'll have a certain number of days to remove it. Since you're already planning on getting rid of it within 10 days, try to do it even quicker to avoid further complaints. It seems like your neighbor and HOA are in a tough spot here, but it would still be wise to consult with a lawyer to be prepared if the HOA becomes difficult and tries to penalize you for following their instructions. Spending money on legal advice might be preferable to spending it on moving the dumpster. Keep in mind that many cities have ordinances that override HOA restrictions on temporary construction necessities like dumpsters. These ordinances are in place to prevent additional costs and ensure OSHA safety rules are followed. If the HOA becomes unbearable and unreasonable to work with, don't hesitate to consider walking away from the job. Best of luck! Am I the antagonist for telling my friend she can't use her mental health as an excuse to be rude to people? Burner account. I recently had a Galentine's party with a few of my closest girlfriends. My friend, who we will call Yvonne, offered to host since she loves to have parties. She said that we would plan the party together, but it ended up being mostly me doing the planning and contributing financially towards decorations, food, and alcohol. Whenever I asked Yvonne for her thoughts on party ideas, she seemed uninterested. On the day of the party, I went to Yvonne's house to start setting up. She informed me that she had been feeling down lately and that her mental health was not in a good place. As someone who also struggles with mental health, I understood and asked if she would prefer to reschedule the party so she wouldn't have to push herself to host. She declined and insisted that she would be fine, so we proceeded with decorating. During the party, when it was time to make dinner, heart-shaped pizzas, Yvonne started displaying a negative attitude. She claimed that her food tasted disgusting and flat-out refused to finish it. This behavior was not new, as she had done similar things in the past, suddenly becoming critical and negative. Yvonne's negative attitude persisted throughout the night, and she refused to participate in any games, conversations, or photo opportunities. We ended up engaging in a deep discussion about our past relationships, with Yvonne simply listening with her arms crossed. Another party guest noticed Yvonne's behavior and asked her what she was thinking. Yvonne glanced around the room and asked if we wanted her to be honest, to which we all agreed. Unexpectedly, she then proceeded to insult us all, stating that she was feeling extremely negative and believed that we were all losers who had nothing better to do than gossip and get drunk together, which, in her opinion, was why men didn't want us. This remark caught everyone off guard and we were all shocked. I asked her how she could say something like that and she shrugged, saying, "Well, you just said to be honest." That was the final straw for me, and I began packing my things. Other guests questioned Yvonne about her attitude, and she once again mentioned her mental slump. I was so angry that I turned to her and told her she had no right to use her mental slump as an excuse to be disrespectful to her friends, and that it was manipulative of her to do so. She took offense and accused me of being a control freak, claiming that I rejected all of her party ideas because I only wanted to do things my way. While it is true that I gently declined most of her ideas, it was because she was only considering her own preferences and activities, not what we all would enjoy doing together. I told her that she had ruined the party with her attitude and left. Part of me feels tempted to apologize, but I am truly exhausted by her using her mental health as an excuse to mistreat her friends and expecting us to constantly tread lightly around her. Am I the asshole in this situation? It seems like she doesn't genuinely enjoy being around you all, and her mental health shouldn't be used as an excuse for her mean behavior. It's important for both her and you all to realize that she doesn't have to force herself into friendships she doesn't want, and you all deserve to be happier without her negative vibes. Don't let her use mental health as a weapon to attack others, and it may be worth considering distancing yourselves from this friendship if her behavior is consistently harmful. I can't stand my husband being unemployed anymore. So my husband, 31 years old, and I, 30 years old, have been together for almost 10 years. I understand that sometimes things get boring, but I'm really struggling to understand if I want to be in this relationship or not. I'm the sole breadwinner for our family and have been for a couple of years now. He's had short employment, but he used it to pay his bills, buy tools. I didn't get any financial relief during this time, except the occasional grocery help of like $60 for the month. I've been supportive, but my patience is now running thin. With the cost of living increases, I make just enough for our bills but can barely afford food. I attend school, work a lot of overtime, salaried so no overtime pay, and work a side gig to try and get some extra money to put aside or personal hygiene products we need for us, the kids. I'm very tired of being the sole breadwinner and working every second of the day that I'm awake. I come home and the house is a mess. I'll take the kids to school while he sleeps in if I'm not home late from work. I'm not allowed to talk about work because I talk about it too much. This is fair, but have to listen to his thoughts on TikTok videos that I just don't care about. We don't do anything together but watch TV, and honestly, I don't really like watching TV. Sometimes he tries to talk to me about what trips we should take in the future, but it just makes me mad because I don't see us taking a trip anytime soon. I love to travel, so I may get more upset than what is appropriate. I've recently found myself wondering if I'm better off asking for a divorce, but I don't want to do that to my kids because they love their dad so much, and I know if we lived separately, it would break their hearts. I did separate from him in the past for about 6-ish months, and he was quick to tell me how he'd get full custody of the kids and I'd have to pay him child support and alimony. So that scares me too. I don't think I could afford alimony and I'd be pissed to pay it. I also don't want to sell the house that I bought and split the proceeds with him. I never thought he would be unemployed this long. I feel like a shell of a person most days, and like I can't even show my kids I love them because I'm working so much. I end up taking a lot of naps on the weekend, which upsets him sometimes too, but I can't help it because I'm so burnt out and exhausted. It feels petty to divorce somebody over being unemployed, but I can't imagine the rest of my life being like this. He shows our cat more affection than he shows me. I miss having romance in my life, and I miss having some freedom to do what I want to do. I'm starting to feel like I'd rather be alone. I miss not having to initiate affection and intimacy. I'm feeling lost, and I want to be happy again. Realistically, I'm too afraid to change anything for fear of regret. But I also feel like I'm wasting my youth by subjecting myself to this. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. How do I know if my feelings are temporary? How do I know if I'll be happier with a divorce than in my marriage? How do I even decide? It's important to prioritize your long-term financial stability and retirement plans. If your partner is not contributing to the household income, it can greatly affect your future. The current rules for benefits are based on earnings, and by not working, he's not helping build wealth for both of you later on. It's crucial to consider this aspect. Moreover, his threat of gaining full custody and seeking child support and alimony seems unfounded. In most cases, children are not taken away from their mothers unless there are issues of abuse or other serious concerns. As the breadwinner and someone who keeps the family together, it's unlikely that he would succeed in such claims. The case of the missing ingredient. Years ago, my partner and I rented an apartment from a very famous chef and TV personality. I'm being vague about our genders and the identity of the celebrity for privacy reasons. Anyway, we would occasionally have this chef over for a meal or a little visit now and then. I love to cook and was never really intimidated by this star. I mean, they're not eating every meal at a 3-star Michelin restaurant every night, so as long as the food was made with care, what did it matter if I couldn't do exotic molecular gastronomy or something? My partner, on the other hand, was always looking to impress and was adamant that everything had to be perfect. So the first time we invited them over for a big dinner, my partner set the menu. It was a very involved and complicated main dish with a very distinctive signature ingredient to be added towards the end of the process. So, I was instructed to take a half day off from work the day before the big dinner and cook a practice meal. I came home that afternoon and spent several hours making the dish. It was spectacular, and we had it for dinner. The next day was the big date, so I was instructed to take another half day and come home early to make the same dish once again. I spent another long afternoon cooking the meal almost to completion, with our guests due to arrive shortly before everything was to be finished. My co-host shooed me out of the kitchen, put on an apron and told me that they were going to finish the dish so it looked like they were the cook. With no time to argue, I greeted our guests, and we visited while my partner pretended to be hard at work crafting a delicious entree. I checked in every now and then but was told I wasn't needed. Dinner was served in our little eat-in kitchen, and everyone tucked in. It was immediately apparent to my partner and me that the delicious meal I prepared the night before was much better. I mean, dinner was good, everything was cooked properly. It was like a nice weeknight meal, but nothing special. I knew what was wrong, but my partner was flummoxed. Our guest was very kind and asked about the dish preparation. My partner rattled off the list of ingredients, and the chef seemed slightly perplexed by one of the missing flavors. I knew what was missing because in one of my trips back to the kitchen to check in, I saw that they neglected to put the signature ingredient in for the final stage. But again, I was hastily run out of the kitchen lest the celebrity chef think I had anything to do with the preparation. So I said nothing. I could tell from the other room as they finished the dish that the ingredient hadn't been added, but I kept my mouth shut. In fact, the missing ingredient sat on the counter in my field of view throughout the entire meal. It finally dawned on them that they forgot the most important part of the dish and had to admit the mistake. Again, our guest was complimentary and very appreciative, but my partner was mortified. Sometimes revenge isn't a dish that has to be served cold. It really grinds my gears when someone expects you to go out of your way just to impress a neighbor. Taking not just one, but 2 half days off work just for that is definitely mildly infuriating. And to make matters worse, this pretentious douche takes all the credit for it. Talk about adding insult to injury. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.